Okay, let's talk about flirting. And I want you to forget everything you think you know. The cheesy pickup lines, the weird dating games, all of it. Because what if flirting isn't a game at all? What if it's actually a fundamental human language? A really powerful tool for connection that most of us just, well, misunderstand. Today, we're gonna decode the art and the pretty surprising science behind it all. And to get us started, I have a question for you. What in the world could a terrifying, shaky bridge possibly have in common with a really great first date? I know, it sounds totally random, but the answer reveals this incredible secret about the psychology of attraction. And trust me, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Alright, so before we get to any shaky bridges, let's just get on the same page. What are we actually talking about here? What is flirting really? Because it is so much more than just the words that come out of your mouth. Well, behavioral scientist Clarissa Silva puts it perfectly. She calls it the language of attraction. It's that whole cocktail of things we say and things we do to show someone we're interested and, to see if they might just feel the same way. So think of it less like a rigid script you have to memorize and more like an exploration. And like any language, there are some, let's call them ground rules. The best kind of flirting is playful. It's light. And it has to come from a genuine place. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. At its heart, it's all built on a foundation of respect and just plain kindness. And this part is absolutely critical. It's a two-way street. You have to pay attention to how the other person is responding. This isn't about manipulation, it's about trying to make a real connection.
Okay, now for the science. This is where things get really cool. We're about to pull back the curtain on the psychological trick that explains why some situations just crackle with chemistry.
Which of course brings us right back to our mystery, the scary bridge and the great first date. You ready for the big reveal? It all comes down to a classic psychological phenomenon. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's called misattribution of arousal. Here's what that means in plain English. It's when your body has a strong physical reaction, heart's pounding, palms are a little sweaty, and your brain basically gets its wires crossed about why. Maybe you just watched a horror movie, but your brain can accidentally mistake that physical buzz for intense attraction to the person sitting next to you.
This whole idea is based on something called the two-factor theory of emotion. It's actually pretty simple. Step 1, your body feels something physical, that's the arousal. Step 2, your brain immediately scans the environment for a reason and slaps a label on that feeling. And whatever that label is, well, that's the emotion you feel. And this isn't just a theory. It was proven in this famous study way back in 1974. Researchers had a bunch of guys cross two very different bridges. One was super high and wobbly, and the other was low and sturdy. On the other side of both bridges, a female researcher met them and gave them her phone number. And get this, the men who crossed the scary, high arousal bridge, they were way more likely to call her later. So here's the kicker. Their brains took all that physical arousal, the adrenaline, the fear from being on a dangerous bridge, and it mislabeled it. It reinterpreted it as intense romantic attraction to the woman they just met. That's the adrenaline trap, right there, in action. Pretty wild, right? Okay, so we're starting to get the why behind all this chemistry. Now let's get into the how. Because a huge part of this language is spoken without a single word. It's all about what your body is saying. And the research on this is totally clear. Your nonverbal cues, your body language, it's just as important, maybe even more important, than what you're actually saying. Your body is sending out signals constantly. And when you're flirting, those signals, they're everything. It usually starts with the face. I mean, a real genuine smile, studies show it literally makes you come across as more attractive and more trustworthy. Then you've got the eyes. That quick little eyebrow flash, that's a universal sign of recognition, of saying, I see you. A short, sideways glance from across the room can be a powerful invitation. And then, once you're actually talking, holding that eye contact, it just shows you're locked in, you're present, you're engaged. And your body keeps the conversation going. Think about it. An open posture, arms uncrossed, makes you seem way more approachable. Leaning in just a little bit closes that physical gap and screams, I'm interested. Little gestures like a hair flip or a toss to the head are classic ways to draw attention. And then there's the light touch. A brief, and I mean respectful, touch on the arm can create a massive spark of connection. So we've got our own body language down, but what about the world around us? It turns out the environment you're in can play a huge part in cooking up that feeling of attraction. Remember our old friend, misattribution of arousal? Yeah, it's not just for scary bridges. The same exact principle works in other stimulating places. Think about a first date. The right music playing in the background can literally make the other person see you as more attractive. A Japanese study actually put this to the test. They had pairs of students chat and get to know each other. Some of them had music playing, others were in total silence. And the results? You guessed it. The ratings of attraction were consistently higher when there was music. The big takeaway was that background music just made the whole experience better. People were more likely to say their partner was likable and that they liked to date them. But here's the craziest part. The type of music didn't even matter. Pop, rock, rap, classical, it all had the same effect. It just needed to be there. Okay, let's put a bow on this. We've talked about the psychology, we've gone over the techniques, we've even looked at the environmental hacks. So what's the real bottom line here? Let's be absolutely crystal clear. Good, healthy flirting is playful. It's respectful, it's authentic, it's a tool for connection. What it isn't is demeaning, it's not harassment, and it is never ever a phony game you play to control or manipulate someone. End of story. And I love how Clarissa Silva sums this up. She says, flirting is about exploring possibilities, not trying to control outcomes. It's a dance, right? You're just seeing if there's a spark there. You're not trying to force an explosion. So in the end, the science gives us the why this stuff works. The techniques give us the how, the actual tools. But none of it means anything without the most important piece of the puzzle, an honest desire to create a genuine, respectful connection with another human being. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. In this world of ours, with all the dating apps, the swiping, the texting, where so much of our interaction is through a screen, is this ancient nonverbal language of attraction, the art of the glance, the power of a smile, is it in danger of becoming a lost language? Something to think about.